Charity Dingle and Mackenzie Boyd have endured more than most couples could reasonably survive in Emmerdale, but one of their most disturbing chapters came in 2024, when Charity stabbed her husband during a terrifying episode. The shocking incident followed weeks of trauma for Charity, who was struggling to cope after accidentally killing gangster Damon Harry Harris. Now that Charity is dealing with another traumatic death following Dr Todd's demise, the recent storyline has brought some painful memories back. In Friday's 14th August episode of Emmerdale, Mack reminded Charity of what happened when her mental health deteriorated in 2024. But why did Charity stab Mackenzie, and what happened after the horrifying attack? Charity's ordeal began after the increasingly dangerous fallout from Mackenzie's affair and relationship with Chloe Harris. Mack had fathered Chloe's son Reuben, but eventually decided to choose Charity, leaving Chloe devastated. Her father Damon, better known as Harry, then became determined to make Mackenzie suffer. Harry kidnapped Mack and held him captive, eventually threatening to take his life. Charity became involved after discovering that her husband had been taken hostage and went to rescue him. During the confrontation, Charity struggled with Harry over a gun. The weapon suddenly went off during the fight, killing him. Although Charity had acted while attempting to protect Mackenzie, the incident had a devastating effect on her as she struggled to come to terms with what had happened. The aftermath proved especially difficult because Charity descended into a vulnerable mental state, becoming convinced that Harry was still alive and planning to seek revenge. Overwhelmed by guilt surrounding Harry's death, Charity's mental health continued to deteriorate. She began suffering from terrifying night terrors and severe symptoms of PTSD, while becoming increasingly paranoid and fearful that her life was in danger. Instead of facing her problems openly, Charity kept everything hidden and tried to maintain a calm appearance around her family. However, this eventually resulted in the shocking events of February 2024. Charity had been sleeping on the sofa when another terrifying night terror struck. Because she had become increasingly convinced that she was in danger, she had started keeping a knife nearby. When Mackenzie attempted to comfort her, Charity mistakenly believed that she was being attacked. Caught in the middle of the episode, Charity grabbed the knife and stabbed Mack, believing that she was defending herself from Harry. The consequences were devastating. Mack suffered serious injuries and needed urgent medical treatment, while Charity was left horrified by her actions. Mackenzie's wounds were severe enough to leave him in a coma. Meanwhile, Charity's situation became almost impossible to bear. Moira pushed for her to face charges, while Charity's mental state deteriorated further as she prepared herself for the consequences, until she was eventually diagnosed with PTSD. Thankfully, Mackenzie survived the ordeal. Their relationship was inevitably put under tremendous pressure, but he recognized that Charity had never intentionally meant to hurt him. Their marriage ultimately survived, suggesting that they might also be capable of overcoming the consequences of Dr. Todd's death. Charity has once again found herself attempting to hide the truth surrounding a fatal incident. She recently took responsibility for Dr. Todd's deadly fall, while her granddaughter, Sarah Sugden, began attracting suspicion because of her unusually withdrawn behavior. The strain has already begun taking its toll on Charity. In Friday's episode, she was shown desperately cleaning Dr. Todd's blood from the floor at Jacob's Fold before Mackenzie arrived and questioned what she was doing. Charity tried to brush aside his concerns, but Mackenzie soon began connecting the clues and realized that Charity was attempting to protect Sarah from the truth about Dr. Todd's death. The episode ended with Mackenzie warning Sarah and urging her to stay composed and avoid doing anything that could make the police more suspicious. 5 ways Emmerdale needs to fix Robron before their wedding. It's becoming increasingly obvious that things have been unusually quiet for one of Emmerdale's most beloved couples. Since Robert Sugden made his dramatic comeback last year, and the pair became engaged during Corriedale, fans have been desperate to see much more of them. Not only has this been a surprisingly quiet year for Aaron and Robert, with the pair mostly appearing in support of other storylines, but their romantic side has been especially limited for an engaged couple who have always been regarded as one of soap's greatest love stories. With viewers increasingly asking for fewer murder plots and more heartwarming moments involving their favourite couples, here are 5 straightforward ways Emmerdale could bring Aaron and Robert back to their best, before they eventually walk down the aisle. 1. Bring back their romance. Anyone who became hooked on Aaron and Robert's love story will remember that their relationship began in classic soap fashion, with a secretive, passionate, and often complicated affair. From greasy garages to hay-filled barns, the pair were constantly finding reasons to sneak away together. That intense attraction was still obvious when Robert returned to the village. However, in recent months, much of that chemistry appears to have faded into the background. As their relationship developed, viewers were treated to emotional declarations, romantic reunions, and powerful moments that established their love as something truly life-changing. Surely, fans deserve to see more of that again. Aaron and Robert have also shown how sentimental they can be about their shared history, often remembering special places where they kissed and holding on to meaningful possessions such as Robert's engraved watch and their engagement rings. One of the great strengths of soap storytelling is the ability to follow characters and relationships across many years. Aaron and Robert's story has stretched across more than a decade, making their connection even more meaningful to the audience that has watched every stage of their journey. Robron, without romance, feels a little like Emmerdale without the Woolpack. Reconnecting the pair with the emotional and romantic foundation that originally made fans fall for them could make a huge difference. After all, who wants to see them simply standing around the kitchen looking miserable in episode after episode? They have now been engaged for months without even sharing a proper kiss, which feels particularly strange given their long and passionate history. 2. Remember who Aaron and Robert really are. Bringing a Sugden and a Dingle together to create a soap super couple was a brilliant decision from the show's bosses. But recently, it has felt as though some of the qualities that made Aaron and Robert so compelling individually have been pushed aside. Fans connected with both characters because of their complicated backgrounds and emotional journeys. Aaron's painful childhood, deeply emotional personality, and memorable coming-out story all played major roles in making him such an important character. Robert, meanwhile, was born into the show, and audiences have followed almost every stage of his life. His scheming nature, sharp charm, and hidden vulnerability helped make him equally fascinating. Yet lately, both characters have sometimes seemed like blank canvases, simply responding to whatever crisis happens to be unfolding around their farm. Beyond their popularity as a couple, Aaron and Robert remain hugely successful characters in their own right. But with neither having a major storyline of their own this year, it feels as though some of their individual identities have disappeared amid the wider drama. Soap couples who have been together for years need fresh material, and nobody wants the show to rely on repetitive cheating plots to create conflict between them. Emmerdale continues to air on weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.